down the field. Happy tossing dimes, cup $1 million deal. Fantasy football, better know it's real. Tune into the podcast, tell us how you feel. We be going live, best believe we.
What's up, guys? Clayton here with a quick Rapid Cuts episode with some of the boys from fantasy football from up north. Riley and Habby, what's up?
How's it going, buddy? Good to be back in the studio.
Yeah, it's good. These are just going to be quick little Rapid Cut episodes that we're going to be doing for YouTube probably once a week here. I don't want to waste any time, though. I just want to jump into it. Today, we're going to talk some undervalued players going into the 2021 fantasy football season. Riley, why don't you kick us off here, bud?
Okay, for my quarterback, I got the new face of the Philadelphia Eagles franchise, Jalen Hurts. Obviously, it's a small sample size to go off of, just 3.5 games he played. But he looked explosive. He has that raw talent, and he did so with limited weapons in that offense. His O-line was awful. Receivers constantly injured. But I think that's going to change this year. Philly has the number 6 pick in the draft, I believe. I think they take Jamar Chase, and I think he'll slot up good with Jalen Reagor. I'm not on that whole narrative that Rager's a bust just yet. I think we haven't seen his full potential, and I think that's going to be a good young dynamic duo with Reagor and Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, you looked at how many times Wentz was sacked last year, 50 times. They're going to have to shore up that O-line, just like a lot of teams are going to have to do. I do like that pick, and I do like the pick that they are going to probably go wide receiver in the first round here. What about you, Habby? Got anything to say about that?
Well, I agree. They had some big injuries on their O-line, and they got some guys coming back, and they're definitely going to add a wide receiver, so I can see Hurts having a good year.
Yeah, real quick, he didn't have a big, obviously just that 3.5 games to work off of, but his production in those games was similar to Lamar Jackson's when he took over for Joe Flacco. And he has that rushing capability where I think he'll finish as a top 10 quarterback next year.
I have him in my top 10 in Dynasty right now, so I agree with that for sure. What about you, Habby? You got a quarterback?
Yes, sir. I got my man, JMO. I think he's going to take over. I think Breeze is going to retire. I think that after last season and big injury, he's going to hang him up. I think JMO is going to step in as the number one there. And despite Winston in Tampa Bay, he last chucked the ball for over 5,000 yards in 2019. And despite the turnovers, like I said, he's had a year to learn under Breeze, and he's got new eyeballs. So I think if he gets thrown in there, we're going to see a big-time jump in JMO's game.
Yeah, well, you see, he sat this year, right? He watched what Breeze could do in that offense. Kind of knows the playbook already. I do like that as well. I do think that they're going to also be bringing in a couple weapons on the offense side of the ball as well. So
they don't need much.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see who they. I still don't think they're done with Taysom Hill. I still don't think Winston is the man just yet. But we'll see what happens. And like I said, he has Kamara and Thomas, two of the best weapons you can have in the NFL. So I think it'll be an easy jump-in spot for Jameis if he does end up being the starting.
I think they're at best when Hill is not the guy. When he's his gadget guy, and I think Winston will step into that Breeze role, the main passer, and then Hill will come out sometimes and earn his money.
Yeah,
I agree with that. All right, my guy I'm going to go with is good old Baker Mayfield. Finished as a QB 17 in 2020. He keeps falling down this list of quarterbacks. I could honestly see him jumping into probably a top 10 to 12 guy if everything works the way it's supposed to work. Made it to playoffs 2 of the last 3 seasons that he's played. He's got weapons all over the place. Landry, Higgins, you got Hooper, you got OBJ coming back. He's finally starting to throw more touchdowns and less interceptions, right? So, he went down 8 interceptions, or went down from 20-some interceptions last year in 2019 to only 8 this season. So that's a huge bounce back. And Chubb and Hunt, of course, in that passing game as well. So I think as long as everyone on the Browns can stay healthy, I like the upside for Baker Mayfield, and that's why I like him in the top 10 to 12 this year. He potentially could be end in the top 10 quarterbacks.
The one problem with the Browns is that their running backs are their main focus in the offense, and I think that's the problem with Baker's fantasy wise is that they try and pound the ball first, and then if that doesn't work, then they chuck it. But a lot of times with Chubb and Hunt, the run game is going to work.
Well, we'll see what happens when he has another legit receiver on the other side of the ball, though, right? Lining up opposite of where playing with Landry pretty much with OBJ, right? I think that was harsh too. Like you lost him. He's as much as he's a crybaby or whatever, demands the ball all the time. I mean, that's still a big hit for that offense at the start of last year. So
they're almost better without him, though.
Yeah, that is true too. All right, you got a receiver, Riley?
Yeah, my receiver is Deontay Johnson. Obviously, this is subject to change. It's so early in the offseason. So depending on where Juju goes, but I still think he'll be an elite receiver regardless. He finished as a wide receiver 21, despite playing with two capable receivers next to him. And he had Juju Smith-Schuster and Chase Claypool lining up next to him. And he was a target monster. Like, this guy missed essentially 3 games. He had 0 catches in 3 games this season, and he still finished as a wide receiver 21. He was 5th in the NFL at 139 targets, and that was behind Adams, Allen, Diggs, and Hopkins.
Yeah,
that's it.
Ridiculous. Yeah,
and yeah, after week 9 of the NFL, he was the wide receiver 6, and I just think if Juju does leave, which I think he will, he's going to be the number 1 guy in Pittsburgh, and Ben's going to keep looking his way.
Yeah, I just heard too, like Ben is back next year. That was confirmed. And also heard there's a lot of big interest for Juju with the Giants, what came out yesterday. So that would be very interesting. What do you think, Habby?
Yeah, Juju's going to go to some shit team, become the number 1, get paid. And, he's going to own the ball wherever he goes.
Exactly. Okay, what receiver do you got there, H?
I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy. I think you can look for Jeudy to build on a solid rookie campaign. Average 16.5 yards per catch, 856 yards. Found the end zone only 3 times. I think with Sutton coming back, it'll actually up his game a little bit because he was a rookie and he was the number 1 target for the defenses in Denver. So, and I hope that there's murmurs of Watson going there. So if that actually happens, look out for Jeudy to have an explosion next year.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be determined as far as their quarterback situation goes. So
yeah, I'm hesitant on that quarterback situation. I also think Cortland's he's gonna demand a lot of that offense, but Jeudy has that route running already in his arsenal. So I think if he just develops like normal, I think he'll be a solid 1-2 punch in Denver.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give you my receiver now. T. Higgins for the Bengals. Finished wide receiver 28, over 900 yards, 6 touchdowns on the year. He came out hot in 2020. You know, by week 3, he's already putting up top 15 fantasy points and was seeing a heavy target share 3 weeks into his rookie campaign. And then, of course, Burrow goes down. Right, so that took a big hit.
There goes Cincy.
Yeah, but like with Burrow though, like when he was behind center, Higgins was a wide receiver 12 in fantasy points per game, and his like production fell off when Ryan Finley and Brandon Allen were throwing him the ball. He was on pace for almost 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns in his rookie season. Had Burrow before Burrow's injury, right? So AJ Green's out the door. Higgins steps in immediately as a wide receiver 2. He won't be demanding all the defense because that's what you got Boyd there for. So, I mean, it's going to base on the timeline for Burrows is still up in the air. It's still questionable. But I'll grab Higgins everywhere I can. He can easily finish as the wide receiver 1 in that offense and in the top 12.
Yeah,
I like Higgins.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I agree. I like Higgins, especially if Burrows gets back behind the helm, because they had great chemistry coming out of the gates.
And even if he does miss 1 or 2 weeks, I do think that the Bengals are going to go after one of these wide receivers, or one of these quarterbacks that are available in free agency. You know, like say they go after like a Ryan Fitzpatrick or somebody like that. You know what I mean? Or Marcus Mariota or something like that. You know, there's somebody that'll keep him afloat until Burrows can come back. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Higgins has a good shot to be their number 1 receiver next year. AJ Green, he's washed, so
Yeah.
Well,
he's free
he has a
agent,
chance
right?
to be
He's
that
gonna
number 1
go.
receiver. And I honestly could see the Bengals taking a receiver at the number 5, especially if Jamar Chase drops them to team up Burrow and Chase from LSU.
Yeah, that's
So,
Get
I think
an
it could be-
O-lineman. Protect your quarterback. Get a fucking O-lineman.
We'll see.
Yeah.
You just
think they're definitely going no lineman, I would think, at 5. I would think. I guess depends on who
I don't
falls
know.
there, right? Depends on who
Joe
falls.
Mixon came out and said, "I want Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase."
Yeah.
So
since he's been rolling through the skilled positions, and look how for their draft picks, and look how that's done them.
Yeah, true
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
All right. What other?
What about LaVisca? You said you were going to talk about LaVisca.
No, I changed it up.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Well, you got to talk about him. He's going to have a huge year next year. Him and T. Lawrence are going to go off.
All right. Well, we can save that for the podcast episode, Habby, can't we?
All right. What is this? What are we doing right now?
All right.
Is this podcast?
This is our YouTube channel, man. Come on, guy. Get it.
All right. Oh, okay. I thought it was all the same thing.
All right, Riley. Go ahead. Who you got next?
Okay, running back, I got James Robinson. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a James Robinson truther to the fullest, and I was since week 1 last year. He's undervalued. I wouldn't say he's a sleeper because he's going to go top 4 rounds this year in the draft, but his current mock draft ADP is end of the 3rd round, which I think is very undervalued for a potential workhorse running back. Like, you don't find those running backs that often. So I think he could easily be in the top 2 rounds this upcoming year. He finished 5th in yards at 1,070 yards, which is just ridiculous for an undrafted free agent. Or undrafted rookie, sorry. But he could have finished 3rd as he missed like the last 2 games because of his injury. He was that workhorse running back even when they were stacking the box. He had multiple touchdowns called back. And he finished as an RB7, but he could have finished as an RB4 if he played those 2 games. And I think with Trevor Lawrence in the mix, that's only going to make the defense more balanced. So he's going to have more room to operate, and I think he's going to score more, and he's going to put up another 1,000-yard rushing season.
Well, and you got to look at the people behind him. He has nobody behind him, so he's getting all the work in that offense. I do like that, but I do think he's very undervalued, especially like you said, going in the what'd you say, later 3rd round?
Yeah, end of the 3rd round, like 309, I think it was when I looked at it.
I'll scoop him if he's sitting there. I'm more than happy to take him well before that. So
we're definitely going to see what he's made of now because teams have some game tape on him, so they know he's an actual NFL player now. So the defenses are going to key on his game and we'll see what he's made of.
Yeah, I just think this season they already were. They were putting 8-9 guys in the box the whole season, and he was still putting up those numbers, which is just ridiculous as a rookie, let alone an undrafted rookie.
And you still have to respect Trevor Lawrence now, too, coming in, right? And his passing game. So,
and there's this whole narrative that they're going to get someone else at the running back position, but their team's so bad where they have so many other holes to fill, especially after you just saw a guy put up 1,000-yard rushing season as a rookie, and you don't got to pay him that much because he's on his entry-level contract.
Exactly. All right, Habby, give me one.
All right, I'm going to Seattle. DJ Dallas. We saw Dallas in limited action last year. Helped fill in for Chris Carson every once in a while. But this year, both Carson and Hyde are free agents. And we've already heard Seattle's run first. So someone's got to fill those roles. I don't think they're going to re-sign Carson. There were signs. I mean, they drafted DJ Dallas. They drafted Penny high. So I think they're going to roll with those 2 guys, and I think Dallas is going to rise to the top of this running backfield.
That's one backfield that's I'm going to keep a close eye on to see what's going to happen. You know, maybe they bring somebody in through free agency or something like that. But yeah, as of now, those are the two guys. So it depends on who.
Yeah.
I mean, my money would be on Dallas, considering Penny hasn't done anything since he's been drafted. So
only 27 games in the 3 seasons he's been with Seattle.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm curious to see how that Seattle offense shapes up first, because there's obviously those trade rumors about Russell Wilson. So I'd just like to see the offense play out before I call DJ.
And Dallas, when he did step in for Carson last year, he put up some big numbers.
Yeah, he did have a couple of good games when he did play.
All right, well, I'm going to go with my boy Joe Mixon here. Only played 6 games last year. Yeah. I think he's in ECR right now. I think he is like almost 20, maybe 18, somewhere around there. Since he's been considered a bell cow back, 2018 finished as the RB10, RB17, 2019, RB8 in 6 games last year. The thing with running backs, what I look for in a starting running back is usage, like the volume in the passing game and the run game. He does both. His passing stats are improving every year. He's getting more carries every year when he can stay on the field. And the difference is, I think, what we mentioned it earlier when I mentioned T. Higgins. I do think that the Bengals will, shore up their O-line, take an O-lineman high in that draft. I think Penei Sewell should be there by the looks of all the mocks that are out there. And I think they'll draft the O-lineman, and they'll probably grab a couple off free agency, which is also going to help Mixon, because he's not going to be relied on to block very much anymore, and they have to keep Burrow healthy, right? We watched what happened to that Bengals offense when Burrow went down, and I just think if Burrow plays, this is going to be maybe a hot take or not, but if Burrow plays the majority of the year and they shore up their O-lineman, Mixon's going to be a top 5 back this year.
What?
I disagree. I'm jumping off the Joe Mixon train this year after I'm always with him every year, but I just think that as long as Gio's in that offense, Giovanni Bernard, he still takes those passing down role away from Joe Mixon. So he catches all the passes. Even last year, he was taking some red zone carries as well, even when Joe Mixon was healthy. And I don't think since he has developed enough offense where defenses can respect their receivers as much, because I like T. Higgins, but he's still a young guy developing. So I think they're going to focus on Joe Mixon regardless.
Dominated last year. Boyd dominated last year.
Who?
With Burrow in, both Boyd and Higgins dominated last year. Higgins still went for almost 1,000 yards in the air with Ryan Finley and Brandon Allen throwing him the ball for the last half of the year.
I still see them stacking the box, especially Joe Mixon's getting all these carries. I don't think their O-line's good enough for Joe Mixon. He averaged 2 yards per carry last year?
That O-line was bad last year.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
He did say that if they shore up their O-line, he'll be a top 5 back. I don't think he'll be top 5, even if they do shore up their O-line. I think they're going to become, with those receivers, and Burrow, they're going to become a pass-heavy offense, which is the way the NFL, like how you win in the NFL now.
Yeah. Let's go, Joe. All right, Riley, give me a tight end that you got.
Tight end, I got, once again, not like a deep sleeper, but I got Hunter Henry. He was the 6th most targeted tight end, finished as a tight end 12 last year, despite playing with Keenan Allen, who was a beast last year. So I just think, and he only scored 4 touchdowns last year, which is pretty low. I think that'll increase, and so will his production. I don't think the Chargers will let go of Hunter Henry. I think they want to develop that chemistry between him and Herbert a little bit more. So I could see him honestly easily finishing as a top 10 tight end next year, possibly even top 5, as he was one of the most consistent tight ends last year, averaged 10.2 fantasy points per game in PPR, and that's without scoring touchdowns. So I just think if he stays on the Chargers or wherever else he ends up, he'll still be that elite tight end 1.
Give me some Henry in New England. That's where I want to see him go. See that?
That's a downgrade for him.
No way, man. They need him badly. If they had a tight end I said either Henry or Everett are going to end up going there during free agency.
Let's see who they get to throw the ball.
I could honestly see the Patriots sticking it out with those rookie tight ends they drafted last year. That's just how Bill is.
They have the third most money. They're going to go grab a bunch.
They need a quarterback first.
Yeah, yeah.
And they got the cheapest coach, GM, whatever he is now.
True. Yeah.
God.
All right, Habby, give me your tight end.
I'm gonna go with what?
Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
All right, Cole Kmet. Enters 2021 slightly under the radar. He showed some brilliance last year with a shitty quarterback. But Kmet played second fiddle to Jimmy Graham. Graham is slated to take up tons of salary cap space, and Chicago could decide it wants none of that because Graham's not good enough, and they have Kmet. Things could start unfolding in the Windy City soon, I would say. The Bears have to decide what they're doing with Allen Robinson and obviously their quarterback position, which means probably a greater target share for Kmet if Robinson doesn't come back, but I think they are going to chuck a whole bunch of money at him. Given the landscape at the tight end isn't great in fantasy football, Kmet is a compelling sleeper, I think.
I do like that. He stepped up the last half of the season. He started playing well. We started seeing a lot more fantasy production out of him, so I can get on board. As long as that is also based on who their quarterback's going to be. You know, if it does stay as Trubisky, then I think they already got some sort of a chemistry rolling, and I think he could definitely be a value pick next year.
Yeah, and with Allen Robinson likely leaving, he could be up there in the target share for that offense this upcoming season.
Another undervalued guy you got to watch out for is Darnell Mooney too.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I said, we'll talk about that later. This guy is going to probably make me vomit on air here. So, but I'll just say it anyways. Chris Herndon.
Oh man!
Yeah, it is pretty gross. And I even said it. I can't even believe I'm talking about this, guys. So,
that is gross.
Hear me out. I think he could technically come into the season and finish as the most undervalued player, period, in this year. He plummeted. His stock's been horrible since being drafted in 2018. I mean, that's what happens when you play for the Jets and Adam Gase, right? Gase just destroyed this guy's career. But why you think I'm saying undervalued? Let's pay attention to what's going on. New scheme now, new head coach, new OC, right? We got Robert Saleh coming from San Fran, brought over Mike LaFleur. Now, who did we see call plays for San Fran? That was LaFleur with George Kittle, right? How dominant was George Kittle when LaFleur was their OC? What, best, could people argue, best tight end in the league, right?
Kittle's a fucking beast, though.
Here's the difference, though.
Herndon's a punk.
Well, I'm just saying. This is undervalued. He's 6'4", 250 pounds, same size as Kittle. I think LaFleur utilizes him exactly the same way that he utilized Kittle in San Fran, depending on a quarterback situation as well. But if they go out and get a Justin Fields or a Zach Wilson to play, I like it. I like that even better. Tight ends are security blankets for rookie quarterbacks, so bring it.
If he's expecting the same production out of Herndon that he is from Kittle, I could see a lot of clipboards being chucked in Herndon's face.
Not saying the same production. I said we'll utilize him the same. Is what I think. I think they'll scheme him in a lot better than what Gase has ever done for him. So.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite side for you. I'm not a fan of Herndon, but I see the Jets honestly sticking with Sam Darnold. As crazy as it sounds, I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback. And minus last year, the year before that, he and Herndon did have chemistry together. So I could see if they do end up rolling with Darnold, I see that chemistry kind of picking up where they left off 2 seasons ago. And I could see him finishing, maybe not a tight end 1, but borderline tight end 1, maybe.
Yeah, I just with this talk though, like I said, go back to the head coach Robert Saleh. There's a lot of talk that Darnold going to San Fran is a big possibility, right? Giving up a second rounder plus sending Jimmy G back is what I've read. So I mean, that's a very, very possible that could happen as well. So it's like a lot of these guys, there's the quarterback situations all over the NFL right now is pretty wonky. So I guess we don't really have an idea what's happening until after the draft. Then we could probably make a better assumptions on some of these guys moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, but outside of that, that's going to be it. Big news here, just so let everybody know. We are now partnered up with Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight is a daily fantasy sports gaming website for casual sports fan that is simple, fun, and easy to play. Users determine which superstars competing in the day's professional sporting events will record more or less than the contest line provided. So Monkey Knife Fight, daily fantasy prop games play similar to salary-capped DFS games, but without algorithms, lineups, and most importantly, without those, the sharks that like to take everyone's money. So there's several contests to choose from that don't require hours of research to do all that stuff. Get started now today. 100%, they will match 100% of your first deposit up to $50. All you got to do is jump on there, download the app, or go on the computer, promo code UPNORTH, and they will match your deposit. And it also obviously helps the podcast out as well. So, all right, outside of that, then we will be back soon for another podcast and some more Rapid Cuts episodes. Okay, peace out.
Peace.
Peace.
All right.
Clayton caught a big skin running down the field.